Cities and counties around the country have declared themselves sanctuaries for undocumented immigrants, limiting their cooperation with federal immigration policies. But now Second Amendment advocates are taking a page from the same playbook to protect gun rights. Several counties and cities in rural Illinois have passed resolutions saying they will not enforce gun control measures passed by the state legislature, which is controlled by Democrats. Democrats argue the laws are needed to curb illegal gun sales, but Republicans say the measures restrict the Second Amendment. Effingham County is in southern Illinois. It's about 75 miles southeast of the state capital, which is Springfield, and about 220 miles from Chicago. David Campbell is a member of the Effingham County Board, and he joins us from St. Louis today. It's nice to see you, sir. Thanks for talking with me.
Good morning, Soledad. Thanks for having me on today.
My pleasure. So let's talk about what a gun sanctuary city would look like. What exactly does that mean?
Basically, what I had watched a lot of our legislators in giving us an increasing amount of Second Amendment bills, and we just didn't like what we saw when they were formulating these. And so they started to pass a few of them, and it got my attention. And then we started, watching it even closer, and they started putting more and more bills out there, House and Senate bills. So when our legislators and our governor finally passed the sanctuary for illegal immigrants to come into Illinois, that kind of broke the straw. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, basically. And I decided it was time to take a stand. So I looked at different ways to respond to that, and I thought, well, maybe a resolution might be the best way to go.
There are plenty of people who I think would agree with you on protections for the Second Amendment and gun rights, many gun owners who would say there should be some restriction. You don't see any room for finding some space where you could both tweak some gun laws, make your citizens potentially more safe, and not violate the letter or the spirit of the Second Amendment?
No, I agree with that, Soledad, totally. I mean, we need stronger background checks. For instance, when I left home today, I left my guns in my safe. I will guarantee you those guns didn't jump up and shoot somebody while I was gone. So it's going to take stronger background checks, and I think we need to address the mental capacity of anybody that wants to own a firearm. That needs to be looked at stronger. But it's not the weapons that are killing, it's the people that are actually pulling the triggers. So this attack on the weapons, it just doesn't hold water.
I'm curious to know how much of this is a divide, do you think? This entire conversation and debate is a divide between rural America and urban America. I mean, I grew up with a shotgun in my closet because I grew up in a rural part of New York. What was okay there would not fly in Manhattan, where I live now, same state, very different environment.
There is a disconnect there. I agree with that because, we do have the farm ground down here. People hunt, go out and do sports shooting, things like that. Our Second Amendment says we need the same type of firepower that our government has. If there was, when we were ever overtaken by our government, we need to have the same type of firepower to protect ourselves. And that's where we stand. We want to make sure that everybody's equally protected. And I think, maybe some of the urban people aren't looking at that aspect of it as much as we are. And I think, I think there's room here probably for discussion, and I think that needs to happen. I think it'd be healthy for that to happen sooner than later. And I think we could make, some large strides on that if we actually sat down and talked to each other.
David Campbell of the Effingham County Board, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Soledad. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it very much.